Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I decided to make a video on birth control advice. Now this is going to be kind of just a short video on advice that I've been given, advice that I would give to young girls who are thinking about going on birth control. Also just a wee bit of a talk through of like the types of pills and types of birth control that I've been on. So the first time I went on birth control I was 17 years old, and the main reason that I went on birth control was because I wanted to be safe just in case anything did happen. Better to be safe than sorry. But at the same time, that wasn't the sole reason that I went on birth control. I was also going on birth control because my periods were very, very heavy. They were very, very painful as well. The first couple of days of my periods are so painful. They would make me throw up. They would be that bad that I'd need to take like the day off school, and it wasn't very pleasant, and I know periods aren't pleasant, like, you know, at all. I started my period when I was 9 years old, so I was a very early developer, so I had to deal with that from 9 to 17 basically. I had to deal with the pain, and as a 9-year-old girl, it's not very pleasant. This is why I kind of want to make this type of video, just to give my advice, and I'm also going to do another video on my experiences with birth control and things to kind of look out for and things to kind of think about. But anyway, the advice that I've been given of each pill that I've been on, and also I've been on the implant as well, I've always been told to take 6 months, like basically the tryout period. So to try out the pill, unless obviously you've been suggested otherwise. My doctors always said to me to give myself 6 months to regulate, to figure out if this is the pill for me or not, because sometimes it takes longer than just a couple of months. It takes about 6 months. I'm also putting this like a disclaimer out there. 1, I am not a doctor. 2, I do not recommend, and I'm not saying by all means go do this. I'm not saying for you to just go and, you know, buy birth control, because you can go online and buy the pill. You can buy different pills online. I do not suggest you do that, because always go to your doctor first and, you know, let them find what's best for you. Some pills work for other people and some pills don't, and some birth controls work for other people and some of them don't. So I want to talk about the different types of birth control. So the ones that I know about, obviously do more research into this. Don't just like watch my video and then go, oh, I want to go on birth control now. Like, do your research and make sure you know the reason why you're going on birth control. So obviously there's a couple of types of pills. So I know there's the mini pill, which is a pill that you take all the time. There's also just I call it the normal pill, but it's basically a pill that you take for 3 weeks, and then you come off it for a week, and then that's when you have your period. I'm not sure if there is any other pills. They're the most common ones anyway that I know about. There's also the implant, which I've been on. There's the injection that you can get. I know a couple of friends that are on the injection. There is the IUD, which is basically it's like an insert into the cervix. If you don't know what it is properly, look it up. And also there's a hormonal coil. But anyway, so those are the types that I know about anyway. So I just want to put this out there as well, right? Every woman is different as well. You know, some birth controls might work for some women and some might don't. With my experience, hormones don't work with my body. So that's the reason why I'm making another video on my experience, so that I can talk through in more detail. So I just want to go through the types of pills and the types of birth control that I went on. So I've been on 3 different pills, and I've been on the implant. I'm going to go through the time frames of like why I went on certain pills and why I came off some certain pills and things like that, and why I got the implant. So the first ever pill that I get put on was, I can't pronounce this properly, but it's basically the most common pill that most girls get put on at first when they talk about birth control, and talking about going on the pill. It's like Rigidavon, I think. Basically it looks like this, right? And it's basically like the most common pill to go on. Now the reason I came off this pill was because it was making my mental health worse, a lot worse than what it was. You know, it was giving me side effects of anxiety. It was giving me my mood swings were really erratic, and it just wasn't very pleasant being on this pill. But again, I gave myself 6 months, and the 6 months were just like hell. So I went back to the GP and said, listen, I don't think the pill's working. I was also forgetting to take the pill, so like as well, I was forgetting to take it a lot. Bear in mind, I was like 17 going on 18, well I was 17 and I turned 18 when I was on the pill, and at that point my life was very erratic as well, so I was constantly forgetting to take it, and it was just kind of making me really irregular and just wasn't making me feel, you know, it wasn't really doing its purpose. So basically I came off it and I was basically talking to my doctor about different options, and she said, well, if you're forgetting to take the pill, then maybe recommend the implant. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And at this point I'd met Connor as well, so I was obviously sexually active, so I wanted to go on birth control because obviously I don't want to have a child right now. So I decided to go on the implant. The time period of me coming off this pill and getting the implant, I get put on, it's like Cerazette. So basically it's like this, and this was a pill that I just constantly took all the time. So I didn't come off this pill until I got the implant put in, because basically I still wanted to be protected from basically there was a time frame where that I had to come off this pill, and because it's a different hormone. So the time period, I think it was about 3 weeks, the time period between me coming off the pill and getting the implant put in. I had to go on this to still stay protected, because this hormone is either the same or very, very similar to the implant. That's the reason that I got put on this. So anyway, so I went on the implant for 6 months. The implant, again, was hell. It was 6 months of hell, and I just decided it's not for me. So the implant, for anyone that doesn't know, is basically, it goes in your arm here. In the body, there's your skin, and then there's obviously muscle, and then it goes to bone. So basically the implant sits between the skin and the muscle. It doesn't go into the muscle. And the procedure that happened was, you get a little jag that numbs up the area, and then they use kind of like a gun, and the implant's like that size, and it just sits below the skin, so you can actually still feel it. I'm sorry if anyone's squeamish watching this, but basically it just sits below the skin, or underneath the skin I should say. You can feel it as well. Like whenever I felt it, I felt dead sick. I don't know what it was, but basically it just releases a hormone, and then that's obviously, it stops you from getting pregnant. Now I basically had a period for 6 months, and then I was basically spotting for the rest of the time that I was on the implant. So I came off it, so I got it removed because I was like, it's not for me, and it was just not really for me. And again, my experience with birth control video that I'm also going to be making, I'll talk about that in more detail. So the last pill that I was on was, oh, this is a full strip, was these are really hard names. It's like Jedarel. So basically it's that colour, and that's what it looks like. Okay, so I went onto this pill when I came off the implant, because obviously the implant wasn't working for me, and this was the last pill that I was on before I came off birth control completely. I've been off birth control for about a year now. So when I went on this pill, again, I was actually on it for about a year. Yeah, I was on it for about a year. Again, hormones just don't work with me, so I again gave myself 6 months. It was a pill again that you were on it for 3 weeks and you came off it for a week, and it just wasn't working. March last year was when lockdown kind of happened, so I just kind of said to myself, do you know what, I'm just going to come off birth control, be careful, because I'm in a solid relationship. I've been with Connor for just over 2 years, so we're in quite a committed relationship. We live together, so we can just be careful and use condoms and just be like sensible with it. Because here's the thing as well, like, see, if you're in a committed relationship, I know obviously accidents happen and things like that and whatnot. If you're in a committed relationship, you should be able to talk to your person, or the person that you're being sexually active with, and not make it like a taboo subject. Like, just talk about sexual health, and just talk about contraception, and how to have safe sex. Like, it's not a bad thing to not like to talk about, because that's the reason that I came off my birth control, because me and Connor had this conversation to say, listen, we need to have safer sex, basically, because birth control isn't working for me. And with my mental health already being bad at the time, it's a lot better now, but at the time it was quite bad. And then obviously I'm putting hormones into my system. It just wasn't working, and it was making my anxiety very like high, and it was just like I was anxious all the time. So yeah, so I know this is a wee bit of a short video, but it's just a wee bit of advice, because I've been on quite a lot of birth control. So basically, the things to kind of take away from this: do your research first and foremost. Don't jump to any conclusions. Please do thorough research, because birth control was quite it's quite a serious thing, because like, I didn't know it at the time. I just thought, oh, we'll just go in the pill, but there's loads of different things that come up with people being on birth control. So please do your research with being on birth control, long term, short term, anything at all. Also, always go to your doctor, go to your GP, just talk about these issues that you're having, and see, to be honest, see if you feel like your doctor's not giving you enough information, or they're just kind of pushing you to a side. If you're over the age of 16, you are able to, if you're over the age of 16 in the UK, you're able to pick your doctor. So you can go online and look up their history and look up their, you know, the medical degrees that they have, you know, awards if they've won any, things like that. Like, you're allowed to look up descriptions of your doctors at your local surgeries and stuff like that. So you can do that type of stuff as well. With different birth controls, please give yourself time to regulate if you are going on birth control, because that's one thing that I always did. I was always jumping to conclusions. Oh, it's not working, I need to go and find another one, and I'd only been on it for a month. You need to give yourself about 6 months to 9 months to regulate and give whatever birth control you're on a chance, unless it's suggested otherwise, either by your GP or, you know, you've got underlying health issues and things like that. And again, everything that I'm telling you guys is either stuff that I've been told by my doctors, or it's just my experience on things. So please just don't take my word for everything. Please go and do your own research and do your own whatever you want to do. I just wanted to, you know, make this video just to give my opinion, really. But anyway, I hope you guys somewhat could relate to this video, and hopefully you guys have learned something a little bit about birth control. And yeah, so thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.